Hello everyone and welcome to the BIM Summit Live in London. My name is Stephen Ryan-Doyle and I'll be your flying reporter today in London. Today is a very special day because today is the first time that we're hosting the BIM Summit live in London, so a fantastic day. And I'm also delighted to be joined now by Theo Agelopoulos. Theo, from Autodesk, welcome.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
Are you enjoying today so far? It's been very busy.
It's very busy, but I was actually very surprised how many people are here, and so far it's been kind of inspiring, I would say.
It's a fantastic opportunity to network, to meet new people. Have you been meeting and walking the floor?
Yeah, so I've been seeing very familiar faces that I haven't seen in a while, meeting new faces, so yeah, it's been fantastic.
And you're also here to have a keynote speech, where we're really looking forward to. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going to be transformative with AI. We believe that AI over the next 3 years is going to be more disruptive than BIM has potentially been over the last 20 years, so looking forward to sharing our thoughts today.
Because sometimes people say AI and they say data disruption, it can be a scary topic, but why should we embrace AI?
So it's funny, so the question I get is, from a lot of our customers in particular, is AI going to replace architects, engineers and contractors? And what I always say is no, I think architects and engineers and contractors that use AI will replace those that don't. But I think fundamentally what it's going to do is bring more capacity, it's going to augment the way we work, and it's going to allow us to spend more time on high value tasks.
It'll also create new jobs and new opportunities in the workforce, and particularly in BIM.
Absolutely. I think from our perspective, we believe that the first thing that's going to happen is if a lot of low-value activities will transfer to the machine, and we think people will basically spend more of their time on high-value activities.
Fantastic. And also, your keynote speech, what are areas of data disruption will you talk about? But don't give too much away.
Yeah. I don't want to give too much away, but what I would say is I think we've really hit a wall with building information modeling. I think there's a lot of constraints that are still built into the system. In order to kind of change that, we're going to have to unfold the way we think about digital data delivery. And I think the industry is going to have to move away from these isolated monolithic products that we use to deliver our work to more of a data and platform approach. So I think that's going to be the single biggest shift we're going to see over the next probably decade. And I think as a result, that we have to do that in order to leverage the power of AI.
Absolutely. Now, what advice would you give to some companies starting out in their AI journey?
I think if I reflect on my own personal career over the last 30 years, I think the single biggest barrier to adoption is change management, right? So, and that's really difficult, and it's a people thing, right? So what I would encourage people is either you disrupt or you're going to be disrupted. So in order to do that, you have to embrace change management. And what I see is those firms around the world that have done that are the ones that have been most successful in implementing digital delivery, building information modeling, call whatever you want. So change management to me is the one thing we should embrace.
What about the culture? Because we often see that some companies have need to change culturally to embrace AI in these kind of data disruption changes.
Yeah, and I think it's a culture. Definitely, it's a culture shift. That's the reality, right? And if you look around at what's going on, and if you look in the world of what's happening right now with tariffs globally, and the markets are changing, it's a very disruptive environment, right? And I think we're going to go through a similar disruptive, environment. Not just the way we deliver projects, but the way we think about projects. We're going to be thinking about driving the outcomes of projects. The decisions we make up front have a huge impact on the outcome of the project. So I think you're going to see a huge pivot, over the next several years to more of an outcome-based BIM approach. And that's something I'll talk about in my presentation.
Fantastic. And also, I think we're going to expect that projects are going to run faster and projects are going to be delivered on time and quicker in the future.
I think a lot of the metrics of success don't change, right? I think it's going to be more sustainable, higher quality, lower risk, better cost, So I think what I see, or certainly what we believe at Autodesk, is as we make this technology shift, we'll drive towards better outcomes like that.
Fantastic. And we have a very, very busy schedule here today. Could you tell us one thing so far you've learned at BIM Summit?
Yeah, the first keynote speech was all about storytelling, and what I realized as the speaker was presenting is sometimes we get caught up in the science and the data of what we're doing, and we don't really talk about the storytelling of what are we really trying to achieve. And as a civil engineer, I would say, I didn't get into civil engineering because I was going to get rich. I got into it because I wanted to change the world, and I think we have the opportunity to do that.
And in storytelling, that's the most important part, especially when you're trying to capture new ideas.
Well, yeah, and I think deconstructing the story in a way that people that aren't in your business understand is one of the most impactful things you can do. So when I'm presenting, I'm going to be thinking about that. First thing I learned today is thinking about my own story.
And also, we have a caricature here today as well. Will you be getting your photo done and your new picture as a caricature?
I'm not sure anyone wants to see me in a caricature, so probably not.
We have an absolutely fantastic atmosphere here today at BIM Summit. We have people from Theo, from Autodesk, we have people from all over the world here presenting and exhibiting. So, and also, have you talked to anyone else at stands, and have you been networking?
Just beginning to, so yeah, day one, but that's exactly what I'm going to do right after this.
Absolutely fantastic. I'm just thinking as well, we also have speakers as well who will talk about, I suppose, they mentioned about cybersecurity. Is that something we need to discuss as well when we talk about AI?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the most important things is about trust, and that means trusting data. Customers, a lot of customers' intellectual property is in the data. So how do companies ensure that we're not, whether it's technology companies or the government or whoever is not violating, their intellectual property. So I think in order to see the adoption of AI, we're going to have to address trust. An important part of trust is cybersecurity. It's about data location. It's about cloud security. There's a multitude of different things that we're going to have to solve for. And I know certainly at Autodesk, that's one of the most important things we're thinking about. And in fact, we've even put out white papers about trust.
Fantastic. Theo, thank you very much.